So I'll try to stay as still as possible. Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another Manchester United podcast. I'm going to get straight out of the way. You're probably thinking, where the hell am I sat? Long story short, my connection is terrible today. So if I lag out, that's the reason for it. Let's get into the podcast. As always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I was checking statistics last night and 75% of feel free to support the homies. Anyways, as always, I'm joined by Rob, Kojo, and Benji. How are we doing, boys?
All good, man. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
I'm not too bad. I just feel like I'm going to lag out any second, so it is what it is. Listen, as always, make sure you show love to their socials. Their links are down below. We're going to be covering the Luton game in particular, first and foremost, and obviously going over some individual performances. And if anyone has made a state or claim to start on Saturday. Anyways, let's start with you, Benji. Obviously, always very vocal. Obviously, I've spoken to you separately. I'm sure the people want to know your thoughts on the Luton game. How are you feeling, obviously, 24 hours after the game? What are your thoughts regarding the performance, team selection, that kind of thing?
Well, it was a boring game, of course, but it's like what I said to you against Copenhagen. It's just about getting the results. Cup football is about results. They're not really going to have swashbuckling football. No one really does in the cup. Even in the Champions League, the best teams rarely, apart from maybe like Barcelona in 2011, the best teams rarely like play fantastic football from start to finish. I was happy with the lineup because what we have to also do is give people minutes as well. Something that happened towards the end of last season was that the first team was very fit, but the rest of the subs looked very unfit for a period of time. I would love to see Mengi play, but I understand why he didn't play at the same time. I can't really complain with anything that Oli done yesterday. What the team done. There was a lot of positives for me personally from the performance.
Obviously, you mentioned that there's a lot of positives. Obviously, we'll come back on the positives shortly. What was your thoughts regarding the team lineup, Rob? Because obviously, as Benji's alluded to, I was a bit disappointed not to see Mengi start. However, I felt like Bailly was absolutely fantastic after very shaky moments at the start of the game. What was your sort of perception on the overall outcome?
Yeah, the team lineup was just basically around fitness. It wasn't really about Ole's preferred starting 11 or even giving people opportunity. It was just, I think, more like a pre-season feel to get people's fitness levels back up. Obviously, giving Van der Beek his first run out as a starter. But I know a lot of people obviously found the selection a bit controversial. I think any time that you see an unbalanced right-hand side or left-hand side, people are going to ask questions. But it is what it is. Manchester United are not fit. They're nowhere near fit. Yeah. So this game was about trying to win and get through with minimal damage, but making sure that people got minutes, and that was achieved.
Yeah, no, Kojo, coming on to you, obviously, in terms of, of course, it's a cup competition. The most important thing, obviously, is just getting through, really, to be fair. As Benji alluded to, you're not going to play fantastic football every single game throughout the sort of journey within the cup competition. Would you say that was the most important thing for you as well? Or do you think after the disappointment on the weekend prior that there was some importance on the level of performance?
No, it's more important just to win. I mean, that's what you need is a confidence boost rather than a fantastic performance. You need to go out there and get 3 points. Get the W, more importantly. That's what you needed. I think what was very important for someone like Rashford, who struggled towards the end of last season and obviously wasn't great against Palace, he got a goal as well. That's a confidence boost for him as well. And all the players that are not getting regular minutes because they're now squad players as first team players, when last year you saw a lot more Fred and McTominay. You're not going to see much of them this year in the starting 11. They needed that also. They need more run-outs. They need more games. Rotation's key. So, getting win was a good confidence boost for everyone, not just the guys that we play regularly, but for everyone in the club. It was needed.
Yeah, no, Oli spoke a lot, and last season in particular, about momentum. He kept using momentum is key. Obviously we're so unbeaten. Me as a fan as well was saying the same thing. Sometimes it's just like you've mentioned there in terms of confidence, the psychological aspect of having that winning feeling. You know, obviously, regardless of what the performance is like, sometimes if you just get over the line, that's the most important thing. Finally, we've got off the mark with a win, obviously being in our second game. We have got a comment here. You guys have all mentioned the same thing in terms of minutes. Obviously, the comment here is alluding to Paul Pogba. You know, on Saturday, I would say Pogba had an absolute mare. I'm not going to lie. Was it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember off the top of my head. But obviously, against Palace. Yeah, Pogba wasn't the greatest. For me, personally, looking back at hindsight, I think it's quite evident he's not fit. Of course, he was one of the people that had COVID. He's not had much training, so I think it was probably a mistake on Ollie's part to even put him in the lineup. But coming to you, I was going to call you Pogba then, Benji. Coming to you, Benji.
I wish.
I'm gassing you too much. Yeah, so what were your thoughts with not having Pogba in the lineup, or even, you know, giving him 20 minutes at the end of the game? Because like I said, I think it's quite evident he definitely needs minutes to get his fitness up. What were your thoughts on that?
I'm perfectly happy with him being left out of the squad, to be honest, because it's easy to nitpick and be like, okay, why is Pogba not playing? But then if Pogba plays, you'll be like, why is Fred not playing? Why is Matic not playing? Why is Van der Beek not playing? So I'm perfectly happy with it. At the end of the day, Pogba will come back in on Saturday, Sunday, whenever we're playing next.
Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, and probably with a midfield that's up to Ollie's choice. But it's easy to say why are people not playing, but I feel like the midfield that he went with was good enough for this game. It's a squad game at the end of the day. Pogba has got his minutes. And I also feel like Pogba might be carrying a bit of an injury as well. So it's good to kind of like keep our players a bit fresh for more important fixtures ahead.
All right, no. Yeah, in terms of keeping the players fresh for more important fixture, I completely agree. I've got to be honest, I was a bit disappointed that he wasn't on the bench. It would have been nice to give him maybe at least 20 minutes just to get more minutes in his legs. I do agree he definitely shouldn't have started for those. You know, why is my face so red in this line? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so I do agree. I don't think he should have started, but I do think he needed 20 minutes. You saw, obviously, the impact Rashford and Greenwood came out, although it was only for 15 minutes straight away. You saw the quality, and it would have been nice to see Pogba, you know, in that sort of mix as well. But Rob, just coming to the players that did play, was there any players that you think we'll start with the positives first? Were there any players that you thought, no, what? They stood out to me. I think they are potentially in for contention, so to speak, for Saturday, or they've given Ollie a sort of selection edit, so to speak.
I'll just add on to what you just said about Pogba. The reason why I don't think Pogba played is that he's had a really bad injury in the last year. And I think if you give someone who's had an ankle surgery, like he's had twice, and give him 20 minutes, every chance he's going to break down. So you don't really want Paul Pogba in that situation against a championship team that's going to run him. That you'd rather he just had 60 minutes and came off. And I think he has had COVID. So I think that answers that question of why he wasn't there. And you know, like I agree with what Benji said there, you know, give Pogba the proper minutes when he needs it and give other people minutes against Luton. In terms of performances, I think, you know, he only had one big save to make, but everybody was watching Dean Henderson and see how he would react. Wow. And he makes that great save at the near post and keeps the ball out the net somehow. And that was a big moment because obviously if that goes in, it changes the complexion of the tie and obviously how it can, his own confidence as well. And obviously wanting to win games that he's part of. I don't think he'll play against Brighton, obviously. I think still that is that's going to be De Gea's role. But I think Van der Beek, you know, he didn't have an electric game, but I don't think anyone did. But you could see that he's busy and that he's a communicator, and you could see he was talking loads to people on the pitch, popping up in nice areas. And you can see he's learning what other players do. You actually watch him watching them. And that's a good thing because I think that's how he will integrate successfully into this team. And I think that I'd like to see him start against Brighton. I think he's the kind of player that can make United tick. But I was really pleased with the substitutes that came on. It was only obviously for 12 minutes. Yeah. But they all came on and they all looked like killers. And I like that. They all came on. They weren't coming on for run out or bit of fitness. Yeah. They were coming on to bury the game. Marcus Rashford especially. He's had a terrible time, obviously, of injury. And he obviously came back as soon as he could from that broken back. And he's never looked the same since. And just for that 10 minutes, he looked like Marcus Rashford. Mason came on and was Mason, wasn't he? Did what Mason did. When he got that ball actually into the box in those final moments where he scored, as he got it on his left foot, I just went goal. because that's what he does in that area. So let's hope Mason starts. I want to see him back in the first team as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, obviously, just to touch on Greenwood, I think he's an absolute surefire starter without a shadow of a doubt. As you've already mentioned, in terms of he's just clinical, isn't he? You know, as a defender marking him, okay, you know he's going to come on his left foot, but then you're like, wait a minute, he can go on his right foot as well. So he's very difficult to defend. And for me personally, you've already mentioned it as well. I think the most important moment in the whole game for me had to be Marcus Rashford's goal. You know, I've said on numerous occasions on previous podcasts leading up to the new season, I think people have forgotten how good Rashford is. I genuinely believe it. You know, I've seen a lot of people on social media, and again, social media isn't the greatest place for football opinion, but it just seems to be there's a lot of hate targeted towards Rashford. Of course, you know, some of which is down to his lack of quality at the moment in terms of form, performance levels, etc. But I think people are forgetting how good he was prior to his injury. Like, he was literally carrying the team. Him and Martial, in moments, were carrying the team. Even prior to when Bruno came, you know, you look at the back end of December, Rashford put in a lot of important performances and important moments within games that got us the points. Even against Brighton, when he had that it was against Crystal Palace actually. When he had that individual brilliance on the left wing, goes past his man, plays it to Bruno. Bruno then returns the ball to him, and he plays it to Martial to score. So he has got moments in him. I think people are forgetting that, and he's a confidence player, as are most footballers. But in particular, Rashford is somebody that thrives on confidence. You know, when he's on cloud nine, you can see that he's on cloud nine. He's like a different animal. So I was very happy for him to get his goal. As you've already mentioned, I don't think Greenwood actually feels any form of pressure. That kid just seems like he's ice cold. So I don't think it mattered too much to him. But I think for Rashford, for me personally, I completely agree. Kojo, passing on to you, bro. Is there anyone else, or the players that we mentioned, was there anyone that stood out to you? Of course, obviously we mentioned Van de Beek in particular. I thought Mata was brilliant as well. I've got to say, by the way, it's just a shame he's obviously getting on a bit. His intelligence, I absolutely love Mata, man. His intelligence. That's the difference between Mata and Pereira, isn't it? You know, Pereira is obviously a lot younger, but it's just that football intelligence. Sometimes you just can't teach that, can you? Really?
No.
Yeah, no. I've waxed lyrical about Mata on here plenty of times. You know how I feel about the guy.
Yeah.
He's for me, he's the perfect squad player. His experience, his intelligence. He's still got ability in his game. And he links up with the players that love to link up. When Bruno first arrived, he was doing that. You saw a little bit of link up with Van der Beek in the game as well. He's the perfect kind of player for me to do that, especially with these other quality footballers in the team. So he stood out, and Eric Bailly as well. Now it's frustrating because he also got a knock, and when he gets knocks, a knock that should be like 3 days for him could be like 3 weeks, which is so frustrating because we all know that he's a good defender, he's quality, but I think maybe it might be his robust nature that gets him a lot of injuries, or just in general, he's been very unlucky with injuries, especially with knee injuries, major. But he defended very well. He did his job very well, and apart from that, I think that's the two. Apart from also the guys you guys have mentioned, those are the two that I can think of that stood up.
Yeah, obviously, Benji, as we're on the topic of defenders, I was going to ask anyways. In terms of partnership, you know, Bailly for me, I've said this a year ago, so I still think he's the best defender of the club. His only issue is his fitness, and obviously his injury record, of course. As Kojo has already mentioned there, he's gone off with a knock. We don't know the severity, but it just seems to be a reoccurring theme. You know, obviously the transfer window is still open. We've got 12 days, arguably the 12 most important days of Ollie's Man United career to an extent. Because it's quite evident we definitely need a centre back because Lindelof is not going to stay fit. Although we'd love to see Mengi come through. Can Mengi do a full season if Lindelof or Maguire get injured? You know, hypothetically speaking, if Maguire gets injured, that means we're relying on Mengi, Bailly, and Lindelof. And Bailly's probably going to get injured at some point. So we're looking at Mengi and Lindelof for the entirety of the season to say. What are your thoughts on the centre back position? And do you think it's a necessity that we go out and buy someone in the last 12 days, or do you think, you know what, we can potentially trust Mengi to do that role?
Obviously, I want to say you can trust Mengi, but at the same time, centre backs is two positions, so you need to have at least four centre backs in the squad. Like, even if I'm playing Football Manager, I would like to have four centre backs in my team going in for the season. And obviously, if you've got Maguire,
Football Manager,
if you've got Maguire and you've got Lindelof, then underneath you've got Bailly, and then obviously Mengi. But the thing is, Bailly's injury prone, so I don't really count him part of the centre backs per se. So we do need someone else to come in, and it depends on how Ollie wants to go about it. It's either you go by a young up and coming centre back, I'm not saying buy him like a Ben Godfrey type of player, or you go and buy like a Skriniar that's gonna come in and literally like start straight away. There were reports linking us today to Skriniar.
I'm sure he was linked to Tottenham, if I'm not mistaken.
And us as well, apparently, but for 40 million.
Yeah, but they always chuck our name in it for clicks, in it. They've got to get some form of clicks somehow.
We have to talk about it, I guess. But
yeah, I suppose.
I think we should go for him. But at the same time, I feel like he's a bit similar to the rest of what we have. I don't really think he's got electrifying pace. So it depends on what's on the market at the end of the day. I don't want us to be rash. I think one of the things that
we definitely
one of the things we always say is that don't go and buy another £80 million Maguire. Like, I know we're desperate, but I just don't want to see.
Is that a new saying that you just made up or something? I'm not heard someone say
No, I just don't want to go out and buy someone that we don't need, and then it's like you bring him in, £170,000 wages. He plays dead, and we can't sell him more. It gets very frustrating, honestly. So I would even prefer to keep Chris Smalling if you can't get a centre back. I think you have to be smart in the market personally because of COVID.
Yeah, Rob, what are your thoughts? Obviously, he's kind of mentioned Skriniar, obviously, of course, Chris Smalling, that still belongs to us, still at the club. You know, there's reports coming out today that Roma are going to go in for another bid. What are your thoughts in terms of the centre-back situation? Because it's quite evident that something needs to be done, because if we want to have any success this season, we need to have someone better than Lindelof, for me personally. I know he's had a couple of good seasons, but he's not going to take us to the next level by the looks of it.
Well, I think considering United have got about 8 available centre-backs, we could still say that Manchester United need a centre-back. And that's the crazy side of it. Whether you look at the youth of Mengi, someone like Tuanzebe, who obviously didn't really make the breakthrough last year because of injury. Yeah. You can look at Rojo, who went out on loan, Phil Jones. Chris Smalling will probably leave the club, no doubt. Yeah. I think United are now in this precarious situation that now that Sancho looks like it's going to fall through, and obviously that's been the 50-50 all the way through, hasn't it? We've always known that Dortmund were going to dig their heels in, even though they were willing to sell. What does Manchester United do with that transfer fund? Now, there's every chance that Tellez gets over the line in the next 2 or 3 days, so there's a left back for you. As I tweeted earlier on today, does a left back guarantee that you'll be top 4 next year?
I saw your tweets, actually.
To do those things, when you look at signings, I agree with Benji to an extent where you want to obviously bring in quality into the football club who are going to take the team to the next level. The problem with Manchester United is there's tons and tons of issues throughout the squad where actually just focusing at the bench and maybe the fringe players can actually take you up another level. And that's been United's problem now, really, all the way through Solskjaer's tenure, is that we've got a strong starting 11 when everyone's fit, and I'll put that starting 11 against any team in the world. When they're on it and they're hot, great. But like you said there, Bailly had a good game. He's got a knock. We probably won't see him for another month. So United have to anticipate these things and be really kind of be quite ruthless with them.
Rob, sorry to interrupt you. What would you do then? Because obviously, as you've mentioned, Bailly, we're going to have to anticipate him getting injured. The way I see it now, I'm thinking if Maguire gets injured now, Mengi has to. Well, Mengi's going to play, isn't he? Realistically speaking. And, you've got a young lad who should be eased in. I know you're a massive fan of his in terms of his ability, but you know how it is for Man United in terms of pressure. He makes one mistake, it's going to be a long season for him. So what would you do? Because what would you do in terms of centre back? Do you think we need to go and get someone, or do you think maybe keep Smalling potentially? I don't know.
I'm a big fan of Mengi, and I'd love to see him get his chance. But again, like you said there, I want him to be broken in gently and to make sure that he doesn't have it just all completely thrown all over him, because it's so difficult for any 18-year-old coming into a team like Manchester United. What would I do? I would not rely on Victor Lindelof this season. I think Lindelof is a huge issue. I think he is the problem in that defence. I can see why people could say it was Maguire as well. They're both really slow, and that is a big problem when you've got a slow centre-back with a slow centre-back.
Absolutely.
But for me, Lindelof is the one who has the issues in terms of decision-making. We saw that against Palace. Wilfried Zaha. We said on this show, didn't we, beforehand, it was all about what Man United do in that game. And
Yeah.
if Wilfried Zaha gets the run at Victor Lindelof and Mark Maguire, United could lose. And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly what you said.
So
Yeah.
you have to anticipate that for Brighton as well, you see. And you look at
Absolutely.
the defence. Skriniar is a player that United have scouted multiple times. We know this going back to the Mourinho years.
Yeah.
He isn't particularly quick.
Yeah.
However, he does have brilliant concentration. He reads the game really well, great intercepting. And I think he'd actually be a much better partner for Harry Maguire in the kind of short term as well. If you're going to bring someone in and to try and bed them in as a partnership, for the 45 million that they're talking about, I'd bite your hand off.
It's good value. Yeah, I was about to say good value for money, to be fair.
But of course, you're trying to look at kind of elite centre backs and who's available, and do you want to pay 70, 80 million for someone? Man United just simply don't want to pay that money unless it's someone who's got a big commercial upside, like Sancho. Sancho gives you the number 7 shirt. He gives you something to market. He gives you a long-term option as a hero of the team. But those centre backs, it is a problem. I'm not going to lie about it. For me, if you don't buy a centre back and you carry on as you are, Man United could come 5th, 6th, 7th. It's as serious as that. But you need to strengthen that position because it is so key in the whole of the team. Saying that, if Victor Lindelof gets some kind of form or finds something of his best, you never know. But he's never going to get quicker, so that's the problem.
Yeah, no. I think for me personally, before I pass it to you, Kojo, obviously a lot of people will talk about Lindelof's inability in terms of him being a dominant centre back in the air. I think the thing that really peed me off against Palace was the first goal. Like, okay, granted it's Luke Shaw's fault. Of course, it's Luke Shaw's fault. He fell asleep. But Lindelof, you're a centre back. When you're shoulder to shoulder against that, I can't remember. Was it Schlupp? I can't remember who it was. If it was Schlupp or Mitchell, I think it was Schlupp. But you're shoulder to shoulder against one of their players. I'm not saying you have to push him off the ball, but at least put him off. Like, you just allowed him to do whatever he wanted to.
No, smash him into Rose Ed. That's what you do. It's a professional sport.
Exactly.
I saw that. I was like, smash him into Rose Ed, and he let him go, and that's how they scored.
Exactly, but it's like, at least put him off balance, do something, knock him out. I was playing like 5-a-side of the day. I elbowed my mate. He's not my best mate, but I elbowed him just so he couldn't score when he was 1-on-1. Like, you have to do what you got to do. Do you know what I mean? Put him off. It's all good.
Maguire,
Exactly, man. You got to elbow him. He didn't score. So it is what it is. But also, for the third goal, obviously it's a hard second. You have to take the man and the player, man, the ball and the man. You have to. If you give a free kick, you give a free kick. But he's got to be on his arse. He shouldn't be spinning you when it's clear as day for you to win it. I know I should have never compared to all the players, but can you imagine if that was Vidic? Zaha would be on the floor. Even if it was Rojo would have killed him even. Like, I'm not saying I want Rojo on the team, but at least Rojo's got that killing instinct. But Kojo, like, what are your thoughts, man? Because Lindelof's, I've always liked him. I've got to be honest. I'm not going to flip flop. I've always been a fan of his, but he's just not got that. He's not got that. As Joe's would say, you got to be a bastard. He hasn't got it in him. Like, clearly.
He's always tried to be very composed. That's always trying to be. That's why he got that name Iceman, because he always tried to be quite composed. But everything that I praised him for last year, he threw in the toilet against Crystal Palace. Literally, because last year I said it time and time again. When it came to one-on-ones and shafting players out wide, he dealt with that quite comfortably. Like, he didn't have an issue with that. It was always in the air. That was a comment. Like, you have to be better in the air, which is guaranteed. Yeah. But on the ground against Palace, he was an absolute disgrace. That's as simple as it gets. Even that Zaha goal, the second one, we're talking about him getting spun. He didn't even spin him. Like, it's like the guy just did like it was almost like a robotic. It was almost like a robotic turn, and like he hardly beat him, but he beat him. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like like walking past, like walking in the park next to each other with your boy. It was that kind of stuff. So, I praised him for that last year, but you know me, I'm not one to mince my words. That was an absolute disgrace. That was embarrassing. I have an issue with defending in general. I feel like this recovery defending that is now the trend now has kind of hindered a lot of the defenders of today, because it's less about right place, right time. It's more about trying to stop them after they're in their stride, which I don't understand. Yeah. Which kind of hinders someone like Maguire, because when he let Bergwijn go past him last year, I was fuming, because rightly so. I mean, if he's in front of you, the first thing you should do is just get rid of him. Yeah, just get rid of him. So I'll never understand that. But Lindelof needs to improve, but I do also we agree we need a centre back anyway, and that's why I saw the Skriniar news today. And if Spurs are the team to get him after we've lost out to Reguilon to them, I'm going to be absolutely fuming
Oh my god.
because that is a left back that I understand the buyback option, so we didn't want to go for that. That's fine. If you get Telles, job done, no issue there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you need a centre back, and as far as I know, Inter Milan just want to sell the guy because they need money.
Can I say
So-
something on that? Can I say
Yeah,
something
go
on that? Yeah. There is one guy on the market, yeah, and I know United look at his age and go, "Oh no, Koulibaly is on the market." Yeah, he's being shopped. Man City are desperate to sign Koulibaly, but just cannot do business with Napoli. If
Not gonna lie
United
to
want,
you.
if United want to
You're
buy
not
an elite,
funny.
if United want to buy, yeah, but if United want to at least strengthen that position with someone who gives you certain attributes. All right. And the thing is as well, I've said this, if Koulibaly comes into the league, he might not be ready. As you said, tactically, he isn't, I don't think he's the smartest, but he gives you an upgrade on Victor Lindelof. And I know Lindelof last year, people kind of touched around the subject with him saying, oh, well, he shepherds his man well, he plays the position well. He's just soft. He's soft and he exposes Maguire even more than he should do. Koulibaly, this is what I'm saying. Is he the perfect match for Man United? Probably not in the same way that Skriniar Skriniar isn't the perfect match. But if you decide to go into the season without an upgrade at centre-back, I think we're all going to be in tears.
No, Skriniar,
January.
Koulibaly would if he wants to come in, he would be the best centre back at the club. I can't even fight that. That's not an argument for me. Like I think he would be number one centre back at the club. But I've never been a fan of him anyway. But like I just think paying 100
I think, way too
for
expensive.
someone that's 30, about to become 31. To get back 3 years, and the way we sell in general, because I know they want to keep him there. The way we sell is an absolute disgrace.
He's not going to be 100. He's going to be nowhere near 100. We're talking under 50 possibly at the end of this window. Napoli are going to sell him because he wants to go.
Because City are negotiating like 80/90. So how? Well, no.
City are not. I'm not negotiating that at all. City want to pay 45 million. So,
okay, well, see, the thing is, yeah, if they want to pay 45 million, that's cool. But knowing our track records, we'll go from 45 to 80 or 90. That's where I'm worried. That's why I'm like, why would we go? You know what I mean?
If you bought Koulibaly 2 years ago, it cost you 80 million quid. That's how much he was valued then, right?
Yeah.
That's fine, yeah.
Napoli know they need to sell. They've got a big black hole in their finances. They want around 50 or 60 million. City want to pay 45. I've always said this. I said it in the last show. I think, again, I don't care how much Man United play for players. It's not up to us. That's the Glazers' money. Go and pay. If they pay 80 million for him and we get a defender, take the 80 million. I'm not interested in Manchester United's finances. I want the player. And I look at Koulibaly, and I'm not hot on him. I wouldn't say like he's not my dream centre-back. But because now we've only got 2 weeks of the window left, what are your options? Is Koulibaly, would you pay an extra, say, 20 million for Koulibaly than, say, Skriniar, who is probably a little bit slower and maybe less physically dominant as, say, Koulibaly?
Yeah, I think Skriniar.
Exactly, I think that's the issue. So we're talking about pace. I like Skriniar. I would love him at the club. A year ago when we talked about him, I was always like, yeah, he's a kind of player that I would like at United. It's just it's a diminishing returns out. It's really small. The market's shrinking. And United need a centre-back. And this is where I get a bit worried now because I just think, where is the player? Who's
personally,
the player?
I'm going for Skriniar or Ruben Dias. Those are my two options. So it's at my door.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Someone's knocking at his door trying to, like, what are you on about? Yeah, listen, Benji,
Mini Raiola.
Yeah, exactly. Benji, let's bring you in here because obviously I know you do a lot of the transfer sort of news. One bit of news that I found absolutely hilarious and embarrassing at the same time. Of course, we went to Reguilon. Then the Telles rumours have come. And then we've got a Telles alternative. I forgot who it is actually. From
Tagliafico.
Thank you very much. Obviously, Ajax's Tagliafico. There we go. I saw it and I thought, oh my god, I can't wait to talk about this tonight. How can we have an alternative for Reguilon and then they're asking for 20 million for Telles or whatever it is, literally peanuts for his sort of return in terms of goal threat. And then for some reason, a club like Man United can't pay that, and they'll be like, "Oh, let's look at another option." Obviously, these are only rumours; they're linking this to everybody, of course. They are. But what are your thoughts on Tagliafico? Telles? Obviously, I would have loved it if we went for Alaba. Obviously, I don't see why it would leave us from Bayern, but Alaba would have been my dream signing in terms of defender. Just to throw that out there.
One thing that's also worth noting is that the last 2 weeks of the transfers, you're more likely to see a lot of people just moving everywhere because
of course.
I heard there's going to be a crash in the transfer market, and everyone's just going to be getting sold for knockdown prices. So for example, with the Tagliafico deal, I'm not saying I don't really know him like that. I just see him play for Ajax. Let's say at the beginning of the market it was worth like £30 million. By now, or even in the next week, he could be worth 15-12 million pounds because other clubs literally need the money. And Manchester United, I think we should just kind of. It's a difficult one because you want to go in and like this, just put money down or whatnot. But also, you have to also look for the best options that can actually improve.
Yeah, of course.
As Rob says all the time, you have to also look for the best options. So, for example, Oli might have said, "Okay, cool. I believe Tagliafico is a better defender and he can also attack more than Telles. So let's go in for him. They're roughly the same age." Or you could have looked at Usmaan and thought, you know what, I need this guy. I think we just need a left back. Any left back will really do. It's not about getting an upgrade on Luke Shaw or whatever. It's just that we need 2 left backs in that position because Luke Shaw can't be trusted to play a full 90.
He's not gonna play the full season. Let's be real. He's getting injured at some point.
It's because even what we saw on yesterday with Brandon Williams at left back. What was it, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday.
He can't play left back, and the thing is, we're gonna end up killing his career before he even starts.
Absolutely.
So we need to go out and obviously we've got 2 weeks left. Get the smart business done. Because if we're not gonna get Sancho, but we put 90 million up front, I'm expecting 3 players to walk through in the next.
What three players? Obviously,
we'll definitely get.
Not to put you on the spot, but is there anyone in particular that you'd want?
We'll definitely get a left back. So even if it's Telles or Tagliafico, I don't really care. They're both proven quality. They're both good at attacking or whatever. That's fine. If it's the right winger, you've got Ismail Assar at Watford. You've got these kind of like £40 million players that are not Jadon Sancho, but we need someone to actually be there to add that outlet.
It's good talent as well. To be fair,
a right winger is just as important as a centre back for me personally. And obviously, if you have centre back. You think there's a few deals around, like they're saying Skriniar's now worth £30 million. So it's like the way the transfer market is crashing. If Man United actually have waited till the end and we move in and we get 3 players, it could be a smart window from Ed Woodward and the guys. But if not, we'll get our pants pulled down. So it's fine margins at the end of the day. So
literally,
you know.
Rob, what are your thoughts on obviously Benji alluding to the fact that the transfer window might crash potentially? Have you got any sort of thoughts on that at all? Is there any truth in that, or is it just paper talk or just
no? All clubs believe that the transfer window, the transfer market will crash in the last 2 weeks. I've been saying that consistently. The reason for that is it's just like the housing market. Yeah, it's boom and bust. People know that football clubs have got big black holes in their accounts because they've not had fans in there coming into the stadiums. So you need to be able to somehow supplement that. So this is why United were playing this game of hooky with Borussia Dortmund because
Dortmund... Rob, sorry to interrupt you, because someone just clip Kojo fighting that fly, please.
I've got a flyer as well. I keep doing this.
I hate flies annoy me, man.
Brother to go away or something.
It was so funny. Sorry, Rob, to interrupt. I just had to cover that.
Yeah. God. So no, as I said, I think that United got 2 priority positions, and that is centre back and right forward. I think they're the 2 positions that United need to strengthen. If you look at the statistics from last season, they are the 2 kind of roles where you think that United lack. Left back, I know what we were saying there. Luke Shaw, we know he's going to get injured. But when you look at Luke Shaw, he's actually now, he's become more of a defensive left back. And if you bring in Telles, that gives you a nice little bit of balance on the left.
Yeah.
But I don't think still that is the most urgent thing. And this is the problem with this United team, is that you could look at 5 positions and really kind of spin the wheel on them and say, well, if you had someone better in that position, would the team be better? Well, of course. So Telles would come in, and Telles does get lots of assists. He also takes penalties as well, actually, but he won't be taking penalties at Man United. But if he comes in, he would be a bonus. But there'd be plenty of games where we would be doing previews saying Telles isn't the right person for that game because we need to cover, and Telles goes and sits on the bench. So he would strengthen the squad. But I really do want to see that centre back come into the club. Whether you go for a Koulibaly at a more premium rate, or whether you bring in someone maybe who's got more potential. You look at City, how they bought Aki. at that point, when we were talking about centre-backs for Man City going back, Aki wasn't really on the list. He was kind of, possibility, and United were linked with him.
Yeah.
But Pep went and got him, and he's already in the team, and he's going to be playing now. United need to bring someone who can contribute, but finding that right forward as well is important. And I think Sarr for me is the best on the market. I think he's the guy, that could have an impact off the bench for United, and he wouldn't play every week. He would rotate with Mason. But do we also want someone who takes minutes away from Mason Greenwood? Don't know.
Yeah, I suppose the Mason Greenwood argument, I've heard a lot of people using that. For me personally, I don't even think it's a conversation because Mason Greenwood's that good. He will fight his way into the team. And obviously, if you're Martial, let's just say we get Sarr as an example. If you're Martial, Sarr, or Rashford, you're having a bad game. You got Mason Greenwood behind you on the bench. There's no way that's not going to up the level. They need that competition. I do think Sarr would be clever business. I've said this already. I think he's got every capability of being the next Mane. And I don't mean that in terms of his ability, but I mean in the sense that when Mane first went to Liverpool, yes, people were aware of his ability at Southampton. And I was a massive fan of his at Southampton as well. But people still had that sort of perception, he's from Southampton. He's not going to be this player. With proper coaching, the guy, for me personally, is world class right now as it stands. I don't think many people will argue that case. And I think Sarr's definitely got that raw talent as well to do the same in terms of his ceiling. So I think it would be clever business. But also going to talk about your favourite player, Kojo. I thought he was very good yesterday. Jay Lings. Is he resurrected? Obviously, we'll talk about the midfield issue, obviously, before the end of the show. I know people are probably curious. But what are your thoughts about Lingard? Is Lingard still got something to offer at the club? What do you think? I'm just being ridiculous now.
No, Lingard is, he was all right against Luton, but
so someone said he found his level yesterday, which I found.
I saw that. I was like, come on. That's come on.
Tottenham's his level. That's where he'll be.
trying to drive that sale. He was decent against Luton, but he's still a squad player. He's not someone that I can look at and even feel like I can rely upon him to lead a position, either that being number 10 or on the right or on the left. Because I know he can play all three. Even though I was quite happy with his performance, he's not someone that I'm going to look to as I'm satisfied if we don't get anyone in on the right side because we've got this in Lingard. That for me that's a no-go. That's not a viable option. Yeah. We need a right winger. I like the shout of Ismail Assar. I know he plays in the Dutch league, but I will take a shout on Calvin Stengs as well. I'm a big fan of his.
What about also another player? What about Princey Promise? Not many people mention him. I'm a massive fan of him. I think he's a good player.
No.
Quincy Promise is not a bad player, but I feel like he had a ceiling that he just didn't reach, and now he's kind of plateaued. He's not going to get any better than he is now, and that's why I'm worried. I mean, would he be an improvement on the right side? To an extent, but I feel like we'd get quite frustrated with him quite quickly as well. I feel like we need someone that we can feel like we can rely upon him to be there for the next.
Play on the right, does he?
Well, he can. He's more on. But he can play on the right as well. Sort of like Goncalo Guedes at Valencia. He's a left winger, but he can do a job on the right. We don't want someone to do the job. We want someone to be there, and someone like Stengs or Ismail Sarr would make me happy. I think they'll cost around the same as well. So. I wouldn't be mad at that, but Lingard can be a squad player. I'll be happy with him being at the club just as long as he knows he's wrong and he plays it. Don't, if you want more starts, then you have to go somewhere else. Yeah, that's just the reality of the situation.
All right, okay, I've got a question here from Akil, who's obviously a regular viewer. Let's just read that. Have you guys seen the links to Tarkowski? Obviously, at Burnley still, if I'm not mistaken. Rob, will come to you first. Obviously, you're the man in the know, so to speak, from us lot. Anyways, what are your thoughts on Tarkowski? Is there any sort of truth within those rumours at all?
No, if he's going anywhere, he's going to West Ham. So that's that, really. That's done. Unless they can negotiate with Burnley a price and West Ham are looking to spend money, then he's their number one target. And if they can get him for the price they want, do I want him at Man United? I think he's a decent defender, but we're talking about players here now that are kind of ifs, buts, and maybes. We're not talking about either really good development projects or someone who's just top class and is going to come straight in. So someone like Sarr, I'd like him at the club because he is more of a kind of development project, and we know that he could take the next step. But I think United are probably more likely going to sell Lingard. I think that is almost definitely done. Jose wants him. It's going to go to Tottenham. They're offering good money for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if United then move, say, for a loan for someone like Douglas Costa, who again I'm not particularly hot on. But if you're looking just at all. No, if you add, I think when you add, just talking about Mason Greenwood there a minute ago, we know Mason Greenwood isn't a right-sided winger or forward or whatever you want to call it. But you know what? If Mason Greenwood scores 20 goals from the right-hand side of the attack, that makes him one of the elite right-sided players in the world. So it's a difficult one, and I think United might just look to bring in cover in that position temporarily because they're running out of time. And Costa would be someone who would fit the raid structure. And if you bought him in for a year, he might sit on the bench quite a bit, but he'd just give you another option. And Sarr, of course, would cost you pretty big money still, even though he's coming from Watford. The money that they were quoting Liverpool,
it's 40 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's significant. It's significant. So if you don't look at Sarr as being someone who may be in your first team within a year or two, or he's just going to sit around and be bench fodder, like if he's going to be your Jesse Lingard replacement, you're not going to sell Lingard for 25 million and buy Sarr for 40 million and tell Sarr to go and collect the balls at the end of training.
I think I've lagged out, haven't I? One of us
you did then.
It's me. Yeah, but I'm just assuming this. I've just been waiting for it all, thinking. Listen, I've just checked the Chelsea score. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. And you're probably thinking, why the hell am I bringing this up? But Havertz has bagged a hat trick, right? So they paid a lot of money for Havertz. Obviously, a lot. What's it left there?
No, it's just the fact that he's banged the hat trick. I find that incredible. That's all.
Yeah, no. The point I was gonna make is that they've put money down. They bought a player. Now he scored goals. And then obviously United fans were saying, "Oh, he's put covered his price tag." Is it just a matter of getting quality in Benji at this point within the window? And also, speaking of quality, I thought Fred was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Obviously, you guys know I'm a fan of Fred in that CDM sort of covering role. We're gonna have to talk about it, aren't we? Because obviously, there's been a lot of spoken about Fred, Matic, McTominay. Which one of them is gonna play for you? Or do you think we need to still sign someone in that position?
I think obviously next season, I think we do need to sign an actual CDM next season. But for now, I think Matic will be at the top for me, then Fred, and then McTominay last. I feel like Matic, with all of his experience, especially in the Champions League, could be vital. Fred will be good, but I feel like Fred in the single pivot by himself, I don't really like Fred by himself in the midfield, and obviously that means that Pogba has to stay and play 4-2-3-1. With McTominay can't play DM whatsoever. He's better in the box-to-box role, but of course we have 4 players that are better than him in that position. So
yeah,
in terms of the CDM, we'll wait till next season. And in terms of, like you said about Fred's good, but the thing is, it's the consistency at Manchester United with a lot of our players that they're lacking. So Fred can play well against Liverpool, against Chelsea, Liverpool, Anfield, Man City and stuff like that. But then against the smaller teams, is he gonna want? Can he unlock the door from deep? Can he give you that pass? And he doesn't really get assists, and he doesn't get enough assists for me as well. So if you're looking at it, Matic should just stay there and just be stable. And we have to change the formation to a 4-3-3 or even try a diamond. I'm not totally against a diamond formation because I feel like if you have to get your best players on the pitch. If you have Matic holding, Pogba and Bruno in like the 8, so to speak, and then Van der Beek doing the runs, and obviously up front you have to.
Sorry to interrupt you. So you'd have Van der Beek above Bruno in terms of the tip of the diamond?
Yeah, I feel like with Van der Beek, I feel like he runs into the box a bit more. He runs more and he attacks him more.
Yeah, but he can run into the box from an 8, can't he? He doesn't need to be at the tip.
No, I think he's more better. Bruno's not really at his best when he's back to goal like that. I think Bruno Fernandes is more like an 8 coming from deep. I prefer him coming from deep like he does for Portugal. For him as a number 10, if he's back to goal sometimes, I don't really like him in that position. And Van der Beek, like when I talk about attacking, he attacks with intent. Like he actually attacks the box. Like see how Scholes used to do it, Gerrard used to do it, them types of players, he attacks the box. Bruno doesn't do it like that. And he's probably the only player we have at the club that actually likes to attack the box. And he likes to make runs in behind. And Bruno doesn't really make that many runs like how Van der Beek does. So at the end of the day, one of the beautiful things about going forward, we have a lot of options. If you add Sarr, Only has so many options to choose from, but it's the back where he doesn't have that solidity. I know Rob's ready to talk, but
just obviously, Rob, this is again Akil's commenting here saying it should be Bruno, Matic, and Van der Beek against Brighton. We are going to do the Brighton preview on Friday, but obviously just to touch upon it shortly, I know a lot of people are asking our thoughts on the midfield in general. What do you reckon, Rob? Do you think Pogba needs a break? Well, not a break, I don't think that's right, but does Pogba need rest because he's not fully fit? Give him another week of training and then get him back, or do you think he needs to be starting Saturday?
I still think the utopia, again, when you play teams like Brighton and Hove Albion, is that you have got to find a way to play Pogba, Bruno, and Van der Beek. They are your three best midfielders. You have to find a system that works with those three in it, and they are your three most dangerous midfielders. Now, I take the point what you're saying there about a defensive midfielder having someone who's a specialist. And we know that when United need that, Matic is always ready. Matic is always your go-to guy. He can do that job with his eyes closed. He'll screen. He'll fill a hole. He'll play a low block if you play. There's no issue tactically with any of that. There's issues, I think you said, with McTominay playing that role, or even Fred. I don't fancy Fred at all in that role at all. Too many mistakes. But I think United, when the team sheet comes along there, you've got to try and find a way of getting Pogba in that team with those two players. And I don't care who the number 10 is. As far as I'm concerned, they both can get in that position and get into the box. I take what you're saying there about Van der Beek maybe being more of a runner. He is more of a runner. That's his style. He is more Lampard than he is maybe a Scholes. But I think the guy who has got all the gravy for me is Bruno Fernandes. He gets goals and assists almost every game, even when he plays badly. So I want to see him closer to Martial, because I think if he gets closer to Martial, he'll unlock that door for him and he'll give Martial more space. I think you'll see that Van der Beek plays more of a conventional midfield role in his opening weeks, where he might be filling gaps a little bit more or doing things that we've seen Fred do, or kind of more in a number 8 role. And he's already said, he's kind of hinted at it and said, the boss has told me that I'm going to be doing something slightly different to what I was doing at Ajax, but I've still got the license to get forward. We saw it in the Luton game, didn't we? He was kind of more...
He almost scored.
Yeah, he was integrated in there, but he still got in the box from deep, and he likes to do that. He likes to ghost in. He's not really a kind of classical number 10 who maybe will play a 1-2 and get in. He does get into those lovely spaces to get shots off, and he can score goals. We've seen it at Ajax. So for me, it's getting those three integrated. Whatever way you do it, call it 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, get them in that team and coach them in a way that gives them the freedom to go and attack teams. And that will, like someone like Brighton, if United don't attack, Brighton will fancy it like Palace did, because they'll just look at the space behind and they'll say, right, we'll exploit that. But if you've got the ball in midfield and you're dominating, and then you've got those three forwards marauding forward as well for us, most teams are not going to fancy that. They're going to drop off and they're going to give you space and they're going to give you respect. So you need to almost kind of win that chess battle before the game even starts.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's interesting to see if the diamond will work. Obviously, there's a few different comments here. People kind of say different things. Obviously, Akil saying that he thinks Brighton will play a high line. We will touch about the Brighton game in more detail on Friday, so I don't want to speak about it too much. But
high line Brighton.
Yeah, I personally don't think that's going to happen, but obviously it is what it is. What are your thoughts, Kojo, in terms of our midfield three? We've seen 2 games now, 2 very contrasting midfield threes. To an extent, I think they were completely different, if I'm not mistaken. So what are your thoughts? Which one do you think we should go for moving forward? Or is it too early to say, really?
Well, I think I said before that I think he wants to try and get Pogba playing sort of like that Pirlo role. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but that's a feeling that I have. And if that's the way he's going to try and do then eventually he's going to give Pogba, Van der Beek, and Bruno a run as a midfield three. But I understand what you guys are saying in regards to that protection, because with Pogba, yes, he does have decent defensive numbers, but we also see him lose the ball in very crucial areas, which leads to us being able to potentially concede goals. Matic is a lot more suited to that role as a defensive midfielder. He's a lot more comfortable in that position. But obviously, in this day and age, everyone wants quicker players. They want faster players, more agile. That's never been him, because that's not his build. That's not his stature. But if you're going to play the three, a diamond could work.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially,
We need
but
talent. I think we need talent, man.
Because the issue is we
attacking left back.
Yeah, we haven't played a diamond in ages, like in a long time. And I feel like some of the players we have are not tactically open to adapting to something different. That's my biggest worry. If we do get someone like Tellez, yes, he can go forward and Matic can be the one that drops back and helps the centre back. So my issue again is we don't have enough of an attacking fullback either that goes forward because Wan-Bissaka's not good going forward. So again, a lot of our players can be down the left. So if we can sort out that right side option, for me, that'll be more of a priority. Get that winger and then just stick to your three in the middle. And then hopefully, if we can get a balance between those three midfielders, because they are our best midfielders, then that would be great. And then we can play with them going forward. That's what I'll try and do.
Yeah. I was gonna add to that. If we don't get Sancho, hypothetically speaking, it doesn't look like we're gonna get him for whatever reason. I think for me personally, we have to go all out and get Tellez. This is just my thought, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Get Tellez, play a diamond. Obviously, Matic in the DM role. Obviously, Pogba, Bruno, Van de Beek. The link up would be fantastic with them. Obviously, get Tellez to push up, so he's almost giving us that width from a left winger position, and then get Wan-Bissaka. You can get technically you can get Wan-Bissaka to push up as the right winger, and then get Matic. No. I'd push him up, and then I'll get Matic to drop into the centre back position. So he's almost like we're playing three at the back in a sense, if that makes sense. So it's almost like you've got obviously Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, I suppose I can see what you're saying, Tim, as a whole, because you don't want Matic to be too deep, because obviously there'll be too much space in front of the back, in the front, the defence. But I honestly think that could work. I think Tellez has got the perfect opportunity to give us width. Wan-Bissaka offers a perfect balance. I thought, we've not mentioned Wan-Bissaka a lot. I thought he was brilliant yesterday in terms of just reassuring the defence. I didn't feel as nervous when they were going down his wing. It seemed like he had things on lock. Even going forward, he seemed to offer a lot. To be fair, he could have got 2 assists. You know, he laid one on a plate to Lingard, the one that he was claiming he hit someone, but he actually just hit it over. And he could have got another assist as well.
Can I add something quickly to that?
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I just wanted to say for first time in a long time, we actually can't guess our lineup on Saturday. Like, we just can't. Like, we don't know who's going to play, and I feel like it's actually a good thing. Like, the way the squad is coming, the way we just get a few more signings in.
We've got options.
And all the players coming back from injury and the COVID disaster and all this other stuff. I feel like we could have a really, really good season. I'm even starting to even be a bit more positive now.
No, what? Are you okay?
No, do you know what? No, do you know why?
Today, are you alright?
No, do you know what? I thought about it.
We only beat Luton, Benji. It wasn't Barcelona.
No, it's not even about Luton. It's more like we're not as far away. When you kind of start to take a step back and just relax for a bit, we're not as far away as.
We need a couple of players, man. I think we need 2 or 3 players to do.
Yeah,
but
to have a decent 2 or 3 players can be done in it, like Rob said. Rob's in the know, man. He's probably got 2 players.
Listen, I've got one more shout, right? Before we finish the video, I've got one more player, right? It's not left field, right? But some people might think it's left field.
No.
Anyways, again, come back. Chill out, relax. You haven't even heard it yet. Right, so obviously, as you guys noticed, I was following Chelsea game. There's one person that won. Olivier Giroud, his third choice.
Yeah, I said no. This is why I said no.
I want Giroud on the bench for Manchester United. I've said it. I don't care.
This is why I said no. For what reason? I don't understand. What's going on?
He's better than Nagano, isn't he not?
When he said Chelsea, I thought he was like, let's go get I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm better than Nagano, and I shouldn't be on the bench, should I?
Look, okay, granted, okay. But look what Giroud's done for Chelsea come the end of last season. I'm not saying he should start. I'm saying there's an option, 20 minutes off the bench. The guy always scores, man. Look what he did for Arsenal. Everyone's shaking their heads, okay. Just me, lads, in the chat.
Kojo, bring Social off the bench, mate.
Yeah, don't even say that, man. Social's the killer off the bench. I wish you could come back. Get Carrick on pitch as well. Kojo, bro. Kojo, obviously, these two are completely adamant no. Kojo, what are you saying? You said no as well. Am I on my own?
Listen, if we're looking to sign players to improve the absolute sexiness of our squad in terms of looks, then bring Giroud through. But apart from that, because he's beautiful. He's a beautiful man. No homo. He's a beautiful man. But yeah, no. His time.
No one thinks Giroud could do a job off the bench for like 10, 20 minutes. I'm surprised, you know. not gonna lie. You know, nasty header. You know, not tackling for Cortez crossing it in. Giroud winner. All these 2 substitutes. 2
If you
signings.
want a striker, there's
I'm talking cameos. I'm talking strictly cameos. 15 minutes. This some complete different dynamic. Dimension even. That's not the right word. Dynamic. Dimension to the game. Yeah, his link up with Pogba. You know, it's gonna be beautiful. That French connection. They got this.
I don't want to turn back into crossing FC, man.
Okay. Anyways, listen, I tried to sell it to them, and people have been asking me, and it's mentioned on the show. Listen, I just want to say a massive thank you to all our guests. As always, I've probably logged out about 100 times, but I do apologize about the connection. Obviously, you know, man's poor at the moment. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, right at the start, I'm joking, relax. Right at the start, 75% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. It's completely free. We're not going to buy it. It's free. Drop a like. Show love to the boys. As always, Benji, we'll start with you, mate. Mr. Humble. What are your socials, mate? What are your socials?
_ Rob _ B.
That's not even right. It's yeah. Oh god. Okay, so he's gonna shout out to Rob. Beautiful. Rob, what are your socials? Although it's already is it there.
It's all on there. _ Rob _ B. Yeah, you find me on Twitter and all over the place.
Yeah, fantastic. If you want all the updates for transfers or lack of transfers, Rob is the person that you need to be following because he's got all the information. And Kojo, last but not least, as always, bro, socials and your podcast.
Yes, Coach Kojo and at Free Me Flow, as you can see below. Yeah, there we go over there. Free Me Flow podcast. Yeah. No, there's no bicep. Free Me Flow podcast on YouTube and all the Spotify's and everything else as well. So yeah, you find me. And of course, Footy Says. Boom.
Yes. Happy days. As always, thank you very much for tuning into the show. And obviously, if you've got any questions for the next podcast, make sure you drop it in the comments below and I'll move forward to the next one. Apart from that, it's been your host, Usmaan. Peace.